And this is one of the frameworks of thinking about design, is that design is eventually about justice and equality. And so if you're not focused on that, then you're solving problems. You can solve them for yourself. You can solve them from a small group of Indonesians. But what you have to realize, and what is on your shoulders, and I know you guys are still young, so it's challenging to hear this, but the reality is that the youngest people on the planet right now will have the toughest problems to solve. The world that we are leaving for you guys, I think about my own kids, is not a very safe world. We will have far more number of diseases, we will have far more number of ecological problems, which have scientific solutions. So I'm not pessimistic about it, but those scientific solutions have to be accessible to people. And this is not what you read in a book, you don't study it in your classes, nobody talks about it, but all of you are not just talented individuals, you're also science activists. And so it's very important that AU and Shannon was saying that talk to your community, talk to where you are. When you go back home, talk to people. What do they care about? What do they actually need? All the technology that we end up using most of the time in low-income countries come up from somebody else who was trying to solve a different problem. But your problems are unique, and I grew up in India and we have the same sets of problems. They're very different from somewhere else. But we need designers and technical people. And then it's a very important, the reason we chose you guys to work with, that there is a beautiful overlap between science and design. In design you have to think about these sets of constraints, and you have to test, and you have to tinker. But in science it's about rigor. You have to write down a mathematical formula that solves that problem once and for all. And you need both skills. It's the right hand and the left hand of the brain. Lots of people are very good at science. Lots of other people are really good designers, but they're kind of scared of science. But you cannot design a technical solution if you don't understand the fundamental principles. And the future generation will have to do both. So you will have to learn principles of design, so what you're trying to solve and learn is actually meaningful for the world you're going to live in. But you also have to be very rigorous in your mathematics and physics and biology and your classical knowledge, because you will need to draw on those principles, because the solutions will not look like what people did 100 years ago. So it's very important to keep both these things. What we were doing was creative and was playful, and then you will go back and you will test your math exams. I know you guys have an Olympiad coming, and they feel like two different worlds. But what you have to do is fuse them together. And so, if any of you is interested, go figure out, why does a full scope even work?